It's December 7th, 2020. This is on Monday night, and I'm in San Diego, California, in Hillcrest. Here is what it looks like here with a lockdown. This is our second lockdown this year in 2020. The majority of our small businesses make up San Diego altogether. And the first lockdown in March this year, in April, May, and June took a very hard fall with the economy. These businesses were closed at the first lockdown, then they reopened, and they were allowed to serve outdoors. Then California Governor Newsom had the purple tier restrictions, and now look, we're right back to where we are, square one to the lockdowns. I've lived here in San Diego all my life. I'm here in Hillcrest, and I've been here for years. Flicks has had it very hard this year. They were closed in March, April, May. They didn't open up till at least the middle of June or so, and they were allowed only to be like outdoors. It wasn't until July that most of these bars opened up as far as outside, but now they're right back square one, lockdown. I'm totally against lockdowns in the first place. If you own your own business, you could not keep up with your business with lockdowns going on and off switch all the time. This pandemic is a crisis for everybody. Yes, a lot of people have died, and it is traumatic with people dying of COVID. But that's not the only reason that this pandemic has been nothing but a disaster this year for 2020. People die every day of the year. People die of diseases that are not curable. People die of pneumonia. People die of the flu. People die of SARS. We've had viruses and germs from the very beginning. Does that mean we have to shut down the whole entire state and the country just because of a virus? I'm well aware of the 1918 flu epidemic. I'm well aware of what happened during 1918. This is 2020, though. More people were on this planet here in 2020. 1918, we didn't have all the technology that we have today. These businesses are struggling. They cannot keep going, closing and opening and closing and opening at the expense of their employees they hire, and then they have to lay their employees off. Then they take them back and then turn around and have to lay them off again. This is too hard on the businesses. All because of lockdowns. Lockdowns have done nothing but more damage than anything else. Here in San Diego, all these businesses are closed, but because of the governor. Not because it was their choice. It was not their choice to have to shut these businesses down. During pre-COVID days, before COVID, this city used to be the busiest town all over. Used to be people all over walking. Bars, restaurants, coffee shops. Here was my favorite coffee shop with stats. Back in the pre-COVID days, this was a 24-hour coffee shop. Everybody hang out. The bars stayed open till 2 o'clock. That was normal business. Until March 11th, 2020. March 11th, 2020 changed everything. And it wasn't our choice that these businesses were forced to be shut down by the governor, forced to be shut down according to the Department of Health. The Department of Health and the governors are the ones that enforce these policies of lockdown. The stats has been here for quite a while, 24 hours, a lot of customers. The bars here, like this is Rich's, it's always stayed open until 2 o'clock, all the time. I can tell you right now, even on a Monday night, there was still, people, a few coming, and then the crowd would start packing around 9, 10 o'clock at night. No, this is absolutely ridiculous. People cannot earn their businesses and work being forced shut down by the governor, let alone the purple tier restrictions. The governor wants to put even more stricter restrictions if the numbers keep going up. Imagine having your own business and you're having to shut down your business. It adds up costly. And a lot of businesses, small businesses have feared another lockdown is going to simply mean the destroying and destruction of businesses will not be able to ever come back in return. Some businesses have already folded up in San Diego because they can't take another lockdown. Some businesses with these lockdowns and COVID purple tier restrictions are not going to be able to return. Let's face it, we haven't returned. This is not the new norm. This is not the new norm at all. This is the abnormal from a dictator governor that is being very communistic against our will, against our freedoms and liberties. Look, the buses are totally empty. Totally empty. In March, April, May, June, buses were empty like this. All because of the lockdown. I'm going to say this again. All this disruption, all this destruction, the unemployment, the crime rate, domestic violence, suicide, drugs, all this is due to the lockdown. Not the virus. The virus runs 24/7. The virus is the virus. It is the governors that made the lockdowns. They're the ones that decided that, not the virus. They did that based on the virus, but again, it's all on the lockdowns because of the governors. And it's okay for these governors to ignore all those months of rioting and violence and do nothing whatsoever about it. But it was okay to riot, burn, loot, murder, kill, shoot. But it wasn't okay to go assemble and go to church. Protesters have the right by the amendment of the Constitution to protest. Rioters are not protected by the constitutional amendment. But the whole factor is the governor is, ignored all that rioting during the George Floyd and all the Kenosha and all the rioting and mayhem for months. Governors ignored that completely. But it was okay to, go riot, burn, and destroy. And when they did get arrested, they were just released right back out again. But it's not okay to assemble. Now, with purple tier restrictions, it's not okay to gather and assemble with friends. It's not okay to bring friends to your house. Oh, you have to have 3 people only in your house. And they have to be family related during the holiday guidelines. And you cannot. It has to be family related. And if you have 3 people in your household for holiday, it must be only 2 hours. You can't sing. And you mustn't do, if you're going to play instruments, you have to be a certain inch apart. Oh, but God forbid, don't go to church inside. And if you do have church allowed, God forbid, you're not allowed to sing. When churches were allowed to worship outside, oh no, prohibited from singing, hymn books, all this stuff. When have we lived in a time that the government and the governors tell the churches how to run their government bodies? Church and state are separate, and regardless of what the courts say, because they're on the left side, it is against the constitutional rights. Church and state are separate. And for governors to dictate and tell you what to do in your own home is illegal and unconstitutional, irregardless what the left extreme party says. All your news, media, CNN, ABC, NBC, Fox, Washington Post, all are journalists disguised as journalists of the left-wing extreme party. And the left-wing extreme party supports the Chinese Communist Party. Black Lives Movement organization, not the individuals, support Marxism. They teach Marxism. They embrace Marxism. What do you think? Governors didn't do a thing about the states that were particularly blue. When look at the statues that were being burnt down, the monuments, historical, the flag being burned, all this. No, people in San Diego, California, where I live, a lot of San Diegans feel it is not fair that we should be judged in the comparison the same way as Orange County, LA, and all those other cities in Northern California. San Diego is different. Okay, we don't need to be judged by the standards of Orange County and Los Angeles. These businesses that were running when they were allowing the restaurants here, by the way, to run indoors. Then purple tier restrictions were restricting restaurants to do indoors. Restaurants were doing the indoors for quite a long time and outdoors, which was great. Then all of a sudden, within 3 weeks ago or so, the purple tier restrictions by the governor were told to restrict from indoors. I've been lucky before the restrictions. I was able to at least enjoy some restaurants inside before the purple tier restrictions made it mandatory that restaurants could not run indoors. So, within the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, restaurants have been having outdoors, and I've been enjoying eating outdoors until last night. Last night was the last night. Bars were open until the curfew. Well, by the way, the governor had a curfew. They mandated statewide curfew. All this is based on a statewide emergency, of course, and they want to justify statewide emergency, the coronavirus, to justify the ends of their lockdowns. Still doesn't change the fact that it is unconstitutional, it is illegal, and if you look and do your homework yourself and read the Constitution, not in interpretation by the court, but read it as is, what the Constitution and the law is, you will find for yourself out that the governors cannot come up with these ridiculous mandates. Oh, well, you can only have 3 people in your home. It is not any of the governor's business what you do in your home, and I guarantee you, a lot of people are not going to follow through that. What are you going to do? Put a gun and shoot? Shoot them? America, land of the free, but this is not America, land of the hostage prisoners of our own home, being forced to stay home. These stay-home mandate orders. Basically, the curfew and the stay-home man orders are the same as they were in March. You can only go out if it's essential. And who is the governors to determine? I didn't vote for the California Governor Newsom to begin with. No, I did not. I have room to talk. Okay? So, Governor Newsom, he can stick it up his ass because you know what? He's a heartless, feckless, reprobate dictator. As far as I'm concerned, I have no use for him. He's not for the people. You get it. People, the county Department of Health is not on your side, and neither is the governor. They're not for you. They want to shut you down, keep you shut down. And all we've heard this same thing back in March, April, May. This is only going to be just for a while. This is only going to be temporary. We just need to flatten the curve and all this. And they're saying again now, we just need to flatten the curve. This is only going to be 3 weeks. 3 weeks, my ass. We thought March was just going to be for a month. March, my ass. We were locked down in April and May. Things weren't really reopening until the middle of June and July. The curfew, they say, is till the 21st, but it could be extended. So, yeah, give me a break, okay? And then they say, as far as this restrictions, purple tier of lockdown, up until so many days, give me a break. We've heard this before. This is San Diego. I went to a rally last month. Protests. There was mayor's support, a lot of support from the community leaders. People here in San Diego, businesses, are tired of it. No, they are not getting fatigued. They're getting tired of their rights being trampled over and not having the right to work, especially when you have your own business. And I'm tired of hearing people say, well, go get a job. Yeah, right. Well, not everybody is able to get a job that easily. And why has the unemployment rate gone up since we've had lockdowns? They've gone up even more so, higher than prior pre-COVID days. Yes, well, I'll tell you what. This is not the normal night at all. Hillcrest was always having